Phantom's Fact YouTube channel. I am back with the second review for this week, and I am reviewing Bodies, 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 released this year in 2022, starring Amandla Steinberg, Rachel Sennett, Maria Barklova, Pete Davidson, Lee Pace, and a bunch of other people, and this movie was directed by Hannelina Regine. Sorry, it's hard for me to fucking pronounce that. But yeah, so this movie follows the group of college-age TikTokers and fucking millennials as they're in a house during a hurricane and the power cuts out, but then a dead body shows up and then they question whether one of the people around them murdered each other. So, obviously, this type of film, I will say, it is executed very well with what it's trying to do. It's trying to set up with a murder mystery, a mystery of what happened here, and then a bunch of people turning on each other, and then bodies keep showing up and stuff like that, and escalating actions and stuff like that. And now, I really do like that this film's comedy and commentary is handled pretty well, because these characters are really fucking shitty. Like, and I think it's done on purpose, that these are terrible people as characters and people. All of them fucking hate each other and get fucking pissed at each other that they're doing this type of shit. They all try to victim blame when shit starts to go down. And I really think it's smart on what I think the director is trying to, and the director and story artists are trying to get out with this one, because I think it's kind of commentating on, like, how people nowadays, when conflicts arise, they don't trust each other, or, like, victim blaming, where, like, everybody fucking is pulling up shit on shit on shit, and, like, they try to make themselves seem like the less targeted person. And I really do like how it is kind of like a fucking commentary on us not on us, but on, like, millennials and 20-year-olds, and how, like, TikTok and shit has turned us into, like, the worst people possible. And I think it's executed really well, that how each of these characters, instead of being rational, they're being fucking idiots and thinking the worst of the situation instead of thinking it out logically. And I really do enjoy that on how it is executed that way. Now, the first 30 minutes of this is not my favorite part of this movie, because it's just them hanging out before the action and the more interesting part of the film hits. Now, don't get me wrong. It is on purpose that they're supposed to be fucking annoying, and you're supposed to not like these characters in that opening minutes. But it really starts to drag on you. The only redeemable character is Maria Barklova as B, the main character, and she's the only one who you actually think is, yes, she's making the smart decisions, and she's the only character that you care about by the end. And I feel like that is on purpose. And most of these characters you do not like. You do not care what fucking happens to them. But I feel like that's all on purpose and for the comedy. And the comedy does land with, like, you know, the characters making fun of each other, and how in this fucked up situation they still are fucking trying to, like, be like, oh, mental health is so important, you know, I understand that kind of shit. Like, that kind of dialogue I feel like works a lot. Even though I feel like it drags in some areas, it does make most of it work. And especially the direction and the cinematography in this film is pretty well done. There's some nice tracking shots. I like all the shots inside the house where it's just darkness because the power's cut out. And you even have one scene where, like, it's lit in, like, a bluish color, which I really did enjoy. And then you even have characters, you know, with flashlights, then hiding themselves with their flashlights like that. Very clever ideas that I enjoy. And even though the way that this movie ends, you can put it together what's going on, because that's also another problem with this movie. They try to stack on so many red herrings for you to think of them, which, yes, I understand in this kind of movie that makes sense, and it's a part of the fun is to stack on red herrings. And make people think, but I feel like they stretch it a bit too far in some areas. Of course, I understand this is going for like a ridiculous look on these characters who are just completely awful and think the worst of each other. So obviously they're going to head in the direction that happens, but I do feel like you can kind of see what the ending is building up to if you're smart like me. Like, I thought it was either going to go two ways, but I enjoyed the way that it went out, and it ended up being funny in the end. And I really do like how this movie sets up that these characters are shitty, and all of this builds up to that. And there is some emotional moments in it, especially just with B, Maria Barklova's character. She genuinely is giving a good performance here. With most of the actors, they're giving good performances. I do feel like some of them go a bit over the top with how their characters are supposed to go, but I feel like that is on purpose. And I really do feel like this is kind of like a fun, like, mystery, just murder or, like, mindfuck movie where these people just are mistrusting and not trusting each other, ending up in just escalating the situation, making it worse and worse no matter what they do, and they just keep making it fucking worse because they don't trust each other, and they keep making the situation more terrible because of how shitty they are. And it really is commentating on, like, fucking TikTok millennial shit where, like, we're just shitty and always trying to be like, oh yeah, no, I understand that, you know, very important. Like, I forget what movie this kind of dialogue reminds me of, and usually I would fucking hate it, but I feel like it is done in a satirical, ironical take, which does work for me. To whether I recommend this film, I would say yeah, it's not the scariest horror movie, and you would relatively like it, and it's not gruesome or gory to where you couldn't probably handle it. And it's relatively lighthearted but dark at the same time, which I do like. A24 keeps coming out with some banger horror movies, don't get me wrong. I still think X is better than this, but this one is still relatively good. It's not a perfect movie by any extent. As I said, even though I understand what they were doing with the dialogue and the whole ironic satirical take they're taking on this whole situation, I do feel like in some moments, though, it actually does get annoying and subtracts, but only a little bit. I feel like they succeeded with what they were trying to do for the most part. And especially, you can see the twist coming, and them trying to divert what the whole thing is does kind of get annoying at some moments. But for the most part, I feel like they genuinely succeeded with this movie. I definitely do recommend this if you like Scream and stuff. Well, it's not the scariest thing, but you want to see a funny horror comedy and stuff like that, I would say give it a watch. It is definitely not a serious movie by any stance, but there's enough plot in it and a character that you can at least latch to and enjoy, even though you want all these other characters to fucking die because they're making horribly stupid decisions and being assholes to each other. So, I definitely do recommend this. It is not the scariest of horror movies out there, and especially because I love the satirical take they take on these characters of how they're shitty to each other, and especially this whole, like, fucking millennial TikTok type shit that they're doing, but they do it in a satirical take instead of making it more serious, which I think makes it work in the long run, even though some areas get a bit muddled. But of course, every movie's gonna have a problem, and this movie's still good. I definitely recommend you watch it if you saw the trailer and you think, oh, this is fucking TikTok shit and looks fucking stupid. Yes, this movie is stupid, don't get me wrong, but it's more satirical than you think. So at least if you saw the trailer and you're like, I don't know if I'll like it, maybe give it a shot. If not, don't need to. But if you saw the trailer, you're like, maybe, or if you're thinking about it, I would say give it a watch. It definitely surprised me in some areas than where I was thinking it was going to go. So, hope you guys enjoyed. Please like and subscribe down below. And comment your opinions on the film. I always like to see those. And please still tell me if you guys want me to start doing a rating system, whether that be A through F or 1 out of 5 or whatever, because I still don't think I need them, but I would like to hear the community's feedback on whether they want them or not. So, I will see you all next time.